As soon as Celestial Bob finished building the universe, the evolution began to develop various sentient forms of life, and the most intelligent of them was the race of pale bodybuilders who got bored of playing civilization game and they chose a fresh uninhabited planet called Earth to be the home for their pets called humans. They created different races and nationalities so that humans would wage endless wars, and the pale bodybuilders would watch it on their alien Netflix and lose money making bets. But after some time, the ratings of the show dropped, and to draw the audience back, the pale bodybuilders developed an organic fluid, which after getting into another organism, turns it into a new aggressive form of life, and decided to spread this liquid on Earth, so that the new viewers would enjoy watching humans fighting against xenomorphs, and everything would have gone as smooth as the bodybuilders had, if only the security system of the laboratory where the most dangerous creatures are made wasn't designed by the drunk guy found under the nearest bridge, and because of that, the personnel that tried to escape the lab got stuck there forever.
A superior species, no doubt.
And when they should have sent a recovery team from the home planet of the bodybuilders to clear the lab from xenomorphs, for some reason they all said,
"Oh, fuck it."
When there are dozens of spacecrafts here, ready to go to Earth and breed new fauna, and when there was only one pilot left in the laboratory, for some reason he decided to take a nap instead of going to Earth, as if his salary wasn't paid on time, and because of that, he decided to have a lunch break a few thousand years long.
A superior species, no doubt.
And while this employee of the month was sleeping for 2000 years, humans almost caught up with the bodybuilders in development, but unfortunately not in intelligence. Some people still believe that Earth is flat, and some people believe that humans were created by reptilians.
They engineered us. It's what I choose to believe.
Oh, honey, bless your heart.
And they spend their life freezing their ass off, exploring caves to find proof of their theory. And once upon a time, several so-called scientists and archaeologists find rock drawings showing Michael Jordan throwing 6 basketballs into a basket. But for some reason, they decide that it's a map left by aliens.
I think they want us to come and find them.
Can't argue that logic.
And when nobody would believe this story, suddenly it draws attention of local Bruce Wayne or Peter Wayland,
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
who spent a lot of time watching X-Files in the 90s and now believes in aliens even more than Mulder and Scully do, and invested a shit ton of money into the mission to the planet, which apparently was shown in a cave drawing, so that the bodybuilders would restore his old body to the state of Thor. Because he really thinks that the civilization that we know nothing about have the technology of immortality.
You are an old man and a fool!
The guy sends people to the planet that wasn't explored by any satellites or androids, and they don't have any information not only about present forms of life there, but also, as we will see later, they don't even know the composition of the atmosphere.
What is the atmosphere?
The atmosphere is 71% nitrogen, 21% oxygen.
And they decided to take a risk and travel half of the universe just because of the cave drawing. But of course, the most stupid are the creators of humans. Because when the bodybuilders had a vacation on Earth last time, they gave the directions not to their home planet, but to one of the laboratories for making xenomorphs.
A superior species, no doubt.
And when the first mission to the planet, where they can find aliens, should have been taken as seriously as Tony Stark took the creation of his first suit, Peter Diaper Wayland took it this way.
I don't give a fuck about all of that!
And having his own factory producing androids to a dangerous expedition, he took only one of them, Magneto, so that if he breaks down, there wouldn't be anyone to wake the personnel up from hibernation. And while going to the planet, where they might encounter another civilization that might have an army or space pirates, Wayland didn't take any mercenaries, when he should have taken not just an army of androids, but also Jason Statham and Dwayne "The Mountain" Johnson.
It's pretty good.
Not bad.
But what kind of army are we talking about when even the scientists were hired from the nearest mental hospital? The head of the mission, Charlize Theron, right after waking up after a 2-year hibernation, immediately began to burn the calories that she apparently gained while sleeping, without even taking a shower. The captain smokes right in the residential unit, and then...
I'll take a vodka.
What the fuck is going on?
The crew members didn't even get acquainted before the flight, and they are introduced to the mission goal several hours before landing on the unknown planet.
So you're saying we're here because of a map you 2 kids found in a cave, is that right?
Not a map, an invitation. We call them engineers. They engineered us.
Bullshit.
And when the mission was being prepared according to Lebowski technique,
Oh, fuck it.
I'm not surprised that the team members are not professional enough to even scratch their balls without getting hurt. They land on the planet right through the storm because they didn't even check the weather, and they investigate the atmosphere already when they are inside of it.
CO2's over 3%. 2 minutes without a suit, you're dead.
Because nobody thought what would happen if the atmosphere consisted of methane, for example. And nobody thought that if some civilization actually lives here, they might have some air defense system. They should have spent half a year orbiting around the planet, sending signals and waiting for any response. collecting data and sending unmanned vehicles, and only after being sure that it is safe, try to go there by themselves. But well, why would they be afraid when they got help from the scriptwriters? Because when they land on a random spot on the planet, the laboratory turned out to be right there.
You lucky son of a bitch.
And I wonder why none of the scientists decided to open the windows of the ship to let some fresh air in, since they're all stupid enough to explore an alien structure altogether, when they should have sent android Magneto first. What if there are traps inside, or dangerous viruses or bacteria? So Peter, where is my insulin Wayland, didn't want to spend money on a good team, but he spent millions on installing hookah into the suits, and after having a smoke, so-called scientists have another bright idea, to take off their helmets and breathe in the alien air, because, you see, the air composition there is same as on Earth.
Charlie, don't be an idiot.
Hey, don't be a skeptic. Right? There's something generating an atmosphere.
Move your head, Jim.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, why would the scientists know that they can die from any alien bacteria to which they have no immunity? And those members who refuse to take off their helmets at first still do that. Then the biologist demonstrates his level of stupidity. After seeing some unknown kind of a snake in a black slime, he almost starts kissing it. And judging from his reaction, I guess on Earth he had a snake instead of a girlfriend.
You're gonna want to see this.
Look at this. Look at this beautiful thing. Come here, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Even Android Magneto has a glitchy software. He begins to explore the structure on his own and presses some random buttons without thinking that he might initiate self-destruction or spraying of some poisonous gas. But fortunately, he launches only a cartoon using technology worse than human TVs from 1930s, so that it wouldn't be possible to understand what those alien scientists are running from. And following the cartoon, the idiots find the first representative of the alien civilization, but not in a fresh condition. And since all the scientists are here just for vacation instead of doing their jobs, two guys immediately wet their pants after seeing just a dead body and want to go back to the ship. And nobody orders them to stop being a
Little bitch.
and get back to doing their job.
Gigantic dead bodies. I want to go back to the ship. You're being unprofessional. You're supposed to be down here working.
So these kind of scientists were hired by Wayland for exploring an unknown planet, mentally unstable idiots who panic after seeing someone who died over 2000 years ago, and glitchy Magneto is still malfunctioning. Seeing that something dangerous killed all the personnel in the lab, he continues to open the doors, because his Pentium processor cannot estimate a possibility of finding something like Shelob or Alien Queen.
You piece of digibrain shit. My microwave is smarter than you.
Sorry.
But fortunately, they find only jars full of chemical A0-3959X.91-15, also known as some black liquid, which is a lethal mutating agent consisting of millions of microorganisms and was designed by the engineers as a biological weapon against humans. And because of its unstable nature, the engineers place the agent into statite ampules, and when some black liquid is flowing out of the ampules and might be evaporating into the air, nobody decided to put their helmets back on. Meanwhile, those who stayed on the ship apparently were making bets which of these idiots will die first, because they noticed a huge coming storm only when it's covered the entire horizon.
How the fuck did you get this job?
And when there is a high chance of not returning back to the ship on time, the ladies spent precious minutes unpacking the hat for studying it. And when they all have cameras on their suits, nobody noticed David taking one of the ampules as a souvenir. If you ever feel like an idiot, just think of those two scientists who got scared of the bodies and decided to go back to the ship and got lost when they had the map of the entire building.
But where's Bill Burnham Fifield?
We've been here before, Fifield.
I don't know. All looks the same to me.
That's what happens when blokes spend all their time playing computer games and wanking over porn on the internet.
And since everyone was already walking around their known planet without helmets, they decided to not care about their safety at all anymore, and decided to study the alien's head even without a medical mask, when they should have worn 3 hazmat suits one on top of another.
How the fuck did you get this job?
But well, what else can we expect when the autopsy is performed by Dr. Shaw, who is an archaeologist? Of course it doesn't end up well, because after seeing weird moving swellings, which clearly means that they should all step back and give it a nice warm up in the furnace, she decided to let the electric current through it, and as a result, she destroys the only preserved organ of the aliens.
Finally, some good fucking food.
And since the crew can only smoke weed, drink and cosplay wolves,
I'll take a vodka.
I'm not surprised that the android who is supposed to report everything that he does brought a strange container and explores it by himself. He is interested in whether a human would turn into a ninja turtle if he gives him a mutating agent. And after choosing one of the idiots who doesn't notice how David washed his finger in his drink right in front of his eyes, infects him with a drink after saying a toast. 2 engineers. And I have only one idea why David did that. Apparently his operating system was written by Tony Stark, who also made Ultron and almost got all humans destroyed.
Humans are shit.
And after involuntary vaccination, Charlie demonstrates to us that David did the correct thing, choosing him to be his first specimen. Because being on an unknown planet, where they might spend several years, he had a bright idea to have fun with his friend without a condom, and didn't even pull out on time. And because of that, soon he will become the first father of Xenomorph, even though post-mortem. And the captain, after hearing some interesting sounds behind the wall, didn't waste his time, and charms Charlize with one sentence.
If you want to get laid, you could just say, hey, I'm trying to get laid.
My room. 10 minutes.
Impossible.
Of course, with Charlize Theron, anyone would forget about everything else. But how could the captain forget about two scientists in a cave, when he has no one to replace him in the control room and to watch the storm?
What have you got? You get a little hard on.
And as soon as the captain left the room, the idiots do everything to get in trouble as fast as possible. Instead of staying in one place and waiting for help, they started to roam around the dark, unwelcoming building, where they find an alien angry snake, and the guy who likes to play with all kinds of snakes decided to pet it. And since this idiot didn't read Harry Potter and doesn't know the snake language, he gets attacked as if the snake has been a UFC fighter for many years. And the other idiot, instead of saving himself, attacks an aggressive alien with a knife, after which he gets acid sprayed into his face, and hopefully now he learns that he shouldn't touch anything on the unknown planet. And while this guy is turning into a zombie, the giant worm gives a free gastroscopy session to another scientist.
How the fuck did you get this job?
Things on Prometheus are not any better. When Charlie sees in a mirror that he should be writing his last will right now, he decides to hide it, so that he could endanger the entire crew, because after you've been breathing the alien air, of course you wouldn't get sick with anything worse than a flu. When he actually saw worms inside his eyes, and he still hides it even when he cannot even stand.
Charlie. I just tripped.
Oh my god, you're sick.
I'm okay, baby. You're an imbecile.
Now I see why the bodybuilders decided to exterminate humans. And while android Magneto is exploring the lab with the sleeping bodybuilder, the idiots find the body of one of the lost scientists. And after seeing the UFC snake and the fact that Charlie's 1 foot in a grave, they finally realize that they are not very good at science. And only Charlize has at least some brain, so she refuses to let the sick guy on board. And knowing that he might infect everybody else, she gives him a warm welcome.
That gal's got entirely too many brains to have an ass like that.
And the other members are being examined already on board, even though it is clear that the infection develops very fast, and they should have locked everyone for quarantine for several hours at least. And after doing an ultrasound, Dr. Magneto tells Shaw great news.
You're pregnant.
Woo! And realizing that the baby is not human, David puts her to sleep, so that he would bring her to Earth and infect the entire humanity. Which means that David is probably a secret agent of Skynet. But since the android couldn't estimate a correct dose of medicine, Shaw wakes up, beats two idiots who don't even try to chase a person infected with some alien stuff, and after that, she easily gives birth to a new baby. And not only did she refuse from such a cute squid, she also tries to gas it.
She'd make a terrible mother! I wouldn't leave a Chucky doll in her care!
And after that, Shaw begins to cry, because she missed all the fun stuff. When the weed smoker came to the ship in some advanced yoga pose, and is breathing the air unsuitable for humans, one of the idiots went to say hi to him, without a flamethrower in his hands. Apparently he forgot what Charlize did. And since he didn't have enough brains to follow her example, he gets a one-way ticket to Valhalla, and the other idiots decided to follow him, because they started shooting at the alien from some fancy airsoft guns that can't even damage the suit. One genius even decided to burn the alien together with the entire ship, and only by a miracle the idiots managed to turn the alien into a pancake with the truck. And when just a few minutes ago one of the crew members infected with something was firing the workers due to disability, Charlize and android Magneto didn't bother to check what is going on down there, because they were waking up Peter Diaper Wayland so that they could bring him as a guest to the pale bodybuilder.
But they're not all gone. One of them is still alive. We're on our way to see him now.
Who cares that they might be killed by the infection, and it's better to secure the ship first, then explore the alien lab, and only after that wake the old man up and bring him to the bodybuilder. But of course it's much more important to give him a foot massage. Instead of that, they should have given him a medicine for his brain to function, because he's still planning to ask the bodybuilder for a cure for death.
If these things made us, then surely they could save us. Well, save me, anyway.
Save you from what?
Death, of course.
That's a great plan. That's fucking ingenious if I understand it correctly. It's a Swiss fucking watch.
He didn't care that after they have discovered the lab, they lost half of the crew. And since on Prometheus nothing more idiotic will happen, Shaw decides to join the old man and again goes to the lab, and she doesn't even tell anyone about the squid in the medical unit that needs to be burnt and thrown outside. How could she leave an unknown alien on board when half of the crew is already killed by similar creatures? But Shaw still doesn't get the first place in the ranking of idiots, which is taken by Peter Wayland, who still wants to talk to the bodybuilder, even after learning from David that the lab has military ships packed with biological weapons for exterminating humans.
Leaving to go where?
Earth.
Why?
Sometimes to create, one must first destroy.
And when for security they have only one idiot with a useless airsoft rifle, he didn't call for a few guys with flamethrowers just in case. And when the old man can go belly up any moment, why did they wake him up in the first place? When David should have gone first to check whether the bodybuilder has the cure for death? What if it's not even a scientist sleeping here, but a simple janitor who doesn't know anything about creating humans and biological experiments? And then everything is just as I expected. Not only did Peter Hemorrhoid Wayland wake up the bodybuilder at 5 AM and immediately began to ask him for help, but also glitchy android, not knowing the language of the engineers, translated the old man's speech a little bit wrong.
Come on, you little ass! Fuck with me, huh? You fucking little asshole, dickhead, cocksucker! You fucking come on!
After that, David becomes lighter by his body weight, and Peter Wayland doesn't get his immortality, and the bodybuilder actually turns out to really love his job, because without even checking what year it is, he warms up the engine and prepares for going to Earth to turn it into the first xenomorph zoo, even without checking whether the biological weapon is still functioning, which might have expired over thousands of years, and didn't even contact his management to check if they didn't cancel the entire mission, because it's been 2000 years. And when Shaw is 100% sure that the bodybuilder is going to Earth instead of his home planet to feed his cat, she convinces the captain to do something to spoil the aliens' plans.
Damn it! If you don't stop it, there won't be any home to go back to. It's carrying death, and it's headed for Earth.
And because Peter Wayland didn't equip the ship with any weapons, the only way to destroy the space bagel is to ram into it. And the whole crew immediately agrees to that, because apparently on Earth they don't have any family waiting for them, only unpaid bank loans and alimony to their ex-wives. And after Charlize escapes, the guys saying,
"They can suck my pathetic little dick!"
crash into the space bagel, after which Charlize cosplays Indiana Jones, running from it. But she doesn't have enough brains to run to the side, so she turns into a pancake.
You're hot, but you ain't so bright.
The only survivor is Shaw, who hid under a stone from vibranium because it managed to withstand a load of the entire ship. And since she's the only one left on the planet, she went to check her new apartments, remembering words of Charlize.
I'll take a vodka.
And has a drink to honor the dead idiots. But the party is interrupted by the bodybuilder, who wants to get revenge on her for breaking his space ride, when he should have got into another ship and gone to Earth.
You're an imbecile.
And since Shaw cannot fight the big guy, she calls her son for help, who grew up in the medical unit, and rapes the bodybuilder right into his mouth. And as soon as Shaw realizes that she should have stayed on Earth and continued exploring caves instead of having excursions to the unknown planets, she gets contacted by their life Magneto, because apparently all his life support systems are located only in his head.
It's not the only ship. There are many others. I can operate them.
And that's a great news, she can go home, but only Shaw is still drunk and wants to continue her adventures.
I don't want to go back to where we came from. I want to go where they came from.
They created us. Then they tried to kill us. They changed their minds.
I deserve to know why.
You're asking way too many questions.
Of course, let's go to the guys who wanted to exterminate humanity so that they would discover that humans are still alive, found their lab, and killed their friends. After that, they would definitely send an army to destroy Earth. And because Shaw refused from going back to Earth, she only achieves becoming an exhibit for studying anatomy.
For a scientist, you seem incredibly stupid.
And if she had stayed on the planet for a few more hours, she would have witnessed the birth of her granddaughter, who becomes the alien.
Hey, baby. It's beautiful. She is beautiful.
Thank you.
But most importantly, considering that during one day the entire crew got killed because of their own stupidity, their experience and field of study is definitely not studying new planets.
The first manhole in space. They were studying the effects of zero gravity on the reach around.
Is your idiot brain getting f***ed by stupid?
I was designed like this.